Welcome everyone. I'm so glad you are joining me on this Compassion Camp journey. I know that this is a little bit different than what we normally do for Vacation Bible School, but these are different times. And what we're learning about for these next couple of weeks is compassion. And that's really important thing. It's a really important thing to have right now in our world. I wish I could make this a little bit more interactive for you and me and that we could be together, but I hope that this will help. I'm going to post a video every week that you can watch with your family or your friends or whoever you want to watch it with. And if you're interested, then just let me know and I'll email you some activities each week that you can do to help with really learning these Bible stories and what compassion is all about. Be sure maybe to bookmark this playlist in our YouTube channel. Oh, excuse me. Okay, now that that's out of the way, oh, that was a big yawn. Oh my. Excuse me, I must be getting a little sleepy. Are you yawning too? It happens like that, you know. Once someone starts yawning, other people start yawning too. Did you know that? It's really true. According to scientists, even dogs and chimpanzees do this. Here, while we're all sitting around my kitchen table, welcome by the way, let's do an experiment. I will yawn and you try not to. Let's see how hard it is. When you see someone yawn or laugh or cry, something in your brain responds because you know what it's like to feel laughter or sadness or sleepiness. That is a big word that we call empathy. And when we know what it is like to feel something, we become more compassionate toward one another. For example, if I see someone step on a Lego, I feel compassion for them because I know that hurts. My foot cannot feel it in that moment, but my empathy kicks in, and my brain reminds me that suffering, what that suffering feels like. If my compassion is strong, I might offer to help you. That's what compassion is. I see your hurt. I feel your hurt with you. Remember that big empathy word? And I help you ease your hurt. But in order to show empathy, I need to see you. This is the beginning of compassion. When we gather around a table, or even a virtual table, and we look into each other's eyes, or we hear each other's voices, we begin to be able to understand how we are all feeling. That is why it's so important that we welcome others to our tables. That can be our kitchen table, or the Lord's table of communion, our lunch table at school, or a digital table even online. When we welcome different people, we are able to show more empathy. And when we're together at Vacation Bible School, one of the things that we like to do is sing. Today we're going to sing too, and today's song that I want us to sing is a gathering song. God invites everyone to the table of blessing. Everyone is included. When we sing this song together, think of all the people that you would like to include at God's table.
Come to the table, yes, come to the table. Come to the table and celebrate with us.
Today in our Bible story, we will learn about a family party where everyone was celebrating around a meal. But one family member was not too happy about this party. As we begin to learn more about compassion together, I want us to begin with a compassion prayer. So place one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. We're doing this because compassion happens in our brains, but we often feel compassion in our hearts. So repeat after me. Welcoming one, your warm, wide arms are always open, drawing us into your heart full of love. Make our arms your own, helping us see and welcome with compassion all those we meet. Amen. We're about to launch right now into our Bible study, but before we do that, if you're participating in our compassion camp and it's okay with your parents, could you have them send in some photos of you doing compassion camp at home so that we can share them with everyone? I would really, really appreciate that. Okay, I want you to have fun with the Bible story for today, and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Hi, my name is Kristen, and we're going to explore today's Bible story together. I'm so glad that you are here and learning about compassion with us. Remember that having compassion means I see your hurt, I feel your hurt with you, and I'll work to ease your hurt. Today, I want to share with you a parable, or a story that Jesus told about a father who had two sons. I want you to pay attention to any parts of the story where you see compassion, and any time that you notice yourself feeling compassion for the people in the story. Jesus told this parable. There was once a man who had two sons. The younger brother greedily demanded his inheritance, turned his back on his family, and left them for a faraway country. He wasted all the money he took from his family. Soon, he became needy and hungry. Even though he felt ashamed, he decided to go back home, hoping that his father might welcome him back. When his father saw him, he was filled with compassion. He ran out to his son and threw his arms around him. He was so happy he was alive. The father got a big dinner together with the best food and drink to give thanks for his son's return. Meanwhile, the older brother came in from the fields, tired from working hard all day, and when he heard the music and the dancing, he became very angry and refused to go in. His father went to the older brother to persuade him to come, but he said, "I've listened to you, and I've worked hard for you all these years, and you've never given me a party. My brother comes home after wasting all his money, and you throw him a huge party." His father said to him, "Son, I love you. You know what is mine is now yours. But people matter more than possessions. We thought we lost your brother from our family, but he's home. Come to the table and celebrate with us." When we listen to stories, we can learn so much from the feelings of the people. This is one way we can learn compassion. We see, we listen, and we recognize what people are feeling, and this helps us to feel their joy and their hurt with them. Sometimes it requires a bit of imagination on our part because the story might not tell us directly what people are feeling. For example, we might focus on the younger brother and the father, but the older brother has something to show us too. Compassion helps us to see how every human being is important and loved by God. Thanks for joining me for our Bible story this week. Parents, there are some activities that you might want to try out with your kids or with yourselves that help us to reflect on the Bible story and on what compassion is. We invite you to pause the video here to do some of those. And when you're done, Pastor Travis will be back when you hit play again. Bye.
Welcome back to our virtual table, everyone. I hope that you had some fun exploring the Bible story about the two brothers and the father and some of the activities that go along with it. How did your first week of Compassion Camp go? I hope you said it was fun, or it was cool, or I learned something I didn't know. This week we learned how the beginning of compassion is seeing. This is one of the most true and honest ways that we can live out God's compassion. When we really see when other people are sad, happy, lonely, scared, or hurt, we begin to feel it with them. That's our empathy. Think about your day today. Did you see someone who was sad? What about someone who was happy? Did you see someone who was hurt? This is the beginning of compassion. Seeing what someone is feeling is the beginning. Then we use our empathy to feel what they feel. And if our compassion is strong, we offer to help them. When we see and welcome each other, we make ourselves open to God's spirit of kindness. As we sing again our song, Come to the Table, let's remember how God welcomes everyone to the table of blessing and think of all the people that you would like to include at God's table.
Come to the table, yes, come to the table. Come to the table and celebrate with us. Come to the table, come to the table. Come to the table and celebrate with us.
We saw how when we gather around a table, even like this virtual table, we can see and feel the emotions that are present around the table. In our Bible story today, the father saw and welcomed his younger son. He showed compassion when he saw his son's shame and sadness. The father welcomed him back home. But sometimes we forget the father also showed compassion to the older brother by seeing his hurt and frustration. He showed compassion and welcomed his son to the table. The father reminded both brothers they are fully loved no matter what. Let's close in the same way that we opened this week. Place one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. We're doing this because compassion happens in our brains, but we often feel compassion in our hearts. Repeat after me. Welcoming one, your warm, wide arms are always open, drawing us into your heart full of love. Make our arms your own, helping us see and welcome with compassion all those we meet. Amen. Thank you so much for joining me this week. There are a couple of things that I'm sending to the grown-ups. One is a prayer coloring page that we've said this week, and the other is the daily examen. I hope that you'll color the prayer and maybe hang it up in your house throughout our weeks together in Compassion Camp. The daily examen is an ancient way that Christians have prayed at the end of the day to see what their day was like with God. I invite you to do this with your family or friends, and if you'd like it, let me know how it goes. Remember to use your compassion eyes this week, and I'll see you next week at Compassion Camp. Peace be with you. Bye.